Hi, my name is John Elfring, and I will be delivering a presentation on the transferred employee case study. The transferred employee case study explores an ethical dilemma faced by a department administrator in a health organization. After employees transferred without their performance appraisal being completed, the administrator is tasked with evaluating the employee despite only having supervised them for 2 months. The former supervisor refuses to complete the appraisal. An administrator's current supervisor suggests altering the transfer dates to make it appear that the employee has been under the supervision longer. Although legal counsel indicates this is not technically illegal, the administrator is uncomfortable with the ethical implications of falsifying documents. Now, what would I do? The document entail all communications and matters addressed in relation to this issue, including dates, the exact instructions from supervisors, and guidance from the legal counsel. If things go south, this documentation will be clear proof. Do not change the dates in the transfer scripts, because altering the dates, even if it uses the term correction, may be viewed as falsifying records. Integrity and transparency are essential for ethics of a person or an organization. Rather than return to the supervisor with your continued complaints, report them to someone above them in the chain of command within the organization, such as a senior human resource officer or compliance officer, who may be able to level the field and address the matter without any repercussions. Propose a workable solution, such as conducting a performance appraisal based on the performance you witnessed for 60 days under your supervision, accounting for a transition period. Stress this approach prevents fudging and backdating. Now, change the documents. Would you alter, be transparent? So no, I would not alter the documents. The fraudulent document could lead to ethical violations and legal issues, as altering official documents, even ones you claim to be correcting, can be deceptive. If changes were to be discovered or perceived as falsifying records, it could get me into serious trouble with both myself and the organization. Rather, I would fix the situation transparently and ethically. I would need to respect the need of the organization for the records, but my duty would be concerning providing me alternative solution, such as documenting the transition period correctly or finding someone who can address the issue effectively. Now, a course of action would be talk to your supervisor. Yes. Now, however, I would put my issue in a comprehensible manner and in a professional way. Now, before I would talk to the supervisor, I would compile all the relevant facts, organizational policies, and any supporting documents that indicate my reluctance to change any of the documents. Now, when talking to the supervisor, I would refrain from exchange as a conversation instead of an argument. Make it clear you understood the reasons for the supervisor's decision, and yet point that this move is unethical and even illegal because it is changing the document. Now, propose, instead of just saying no, propose some alternatives and provide a solution, specify a plan to document the transition phase, or do an interim performance review based on the 60 days that the employee worked under myself. This shows my willingness to fix in a truthful way. Now, anytime you talk to the supervisor and you have a disagreement, document the discussion following the meeting. I would record the conversation in terms of the guidance provided, my reaction, and a personnel file. This would shield me in case it went south. Now, with ethical integrity, now this is my decision because of falsifying records, modifying the official records, even under a supervisor's orders, could be seen as falsification. This violates the guiding principles of ethics and professionalism, to which I am dedicated. Being ethically sound will help build trust and realize the moral worth of my ways in action. Now there's legal risks. So modifying the dates on official documents may create legal liabilities for myself, compliance risks for the organization through legal counsel. Though legal counsel said it may not be technically illegal, the efforts could still be considered unethical or an attempt to hide administrative mistakes. This is critical for protection on the individual and organizational level. Now, protecting myself, I make sure to document everything so as not to blame for anything I did, because I have contained proof of my actions and my concerns, which protects them if it gets out of hand, or if it gets visited at a later date. Choose alternatives. Has ethical concerns when changing the dates on official documents, even if it's listed as a correction. It could easily be seen as falsifying the records. Posing legal risks, even though legal counsel mentioned, always poses as a risk for disciplinary actions. As a department administrator, I am accountable for my actions and decisions. If I did not raise any questions about the orders itself, when you were just blindly following the supervisor's orders, it does not make me absent of taking the responsibility. I am bound by an oath to do so. Following unethical directions blindly can destroy my professional reputation, particularly if its wrongdoing is discovered later. I want to be recognized as a thoughtful, principled decision maker. Now my approach, now this gives me a way to deal with the problem without dishonoring myself, without directly disobeying my boss. Whenever my supervisor comes to me with a project and I am unable to accept it, by giving an alternative, it shows that I want to solve the problem and not that I say a big no to my supervisor. So that's not me being the problem. From documenting my concerns and actions, I'm also protecting myself from future potential backlash, while ensuring the best interests of the organization are being safeguarded. Now the next course of action, of course I've said it multiple times, is you always want to document everything. I would write everything else I did with respect to the matter, including the advice I got from legal counsel and my concerns about the changes to the documents. Part of document is I am dealing with the responsibility and covering my own backside if this becomes a larger problem. It always involve HR or a higher authority. If supervisor persists, at least change the documents. Contact HR, compliance officer, explain the situation, and ask for their perspective. This would escalate the matter to the upper management while also keeping me safe from any potential retaliation Maintain professionalism. No matter what these conversations result in, I would be a professional. This involves maintaining respect towards the supervisor, colleagues, while standing firm on my commitment to make ethical choices. However, I would refrain from sharing concerns related to the issue with my peers, as it will create unnecessary workplace stress. Now, factors to consider. There's always a risk for retaliation from the supervisor or other personnel. Typically does not seem to tolerate dissent, so I need to be careful and not put my job or reputation at risk. Employees' well-being, you gotta think about how it's affecting the employees in question. They likely also have knowledge of the organizational blunders and may suffer from unintended consequences through defects in documentation or reviews. Make sure any measures taken are beneficial to the employee's career or professional growth. There's always impact on organizational policies. Determine if the circumstances reveals a deficiency in current policies or practices, particularly regarding the handling of employee transitions and performance evaluations. So you need to ask yourself if this incident is a sign of a systematic problem with communication or malfunctioning oversight from HR. The employee's best interests are protected. I remain compliant with organizational policies and legal standards. My integrity and reputation remain intact. I contribute to a long-term solution that prevents similar issues in the future. This comprehensive approach balances ethical decision-making, professional relationships, and organizational improvement. Duty to honesty and integrity. This alteration of documents would breach the duty of honesty. In all dealings of a professional nature, one must hold true to the principle of doing that which is right and choosing to take this action. The same as I did, fully knowing what I had to choose to do was not one I was willing to accept. So now the ethical standards, as I am administrator, have the responsibility to comply with the organizational policies. Ethical codes of conduct. This commitment is evidenced by my refusal to create false documentation and attempts at compliant resolution. You also want to have respect for others and the ethical claims that people should be treated as ends, not as means. Doing so, they're acting in accordance with the ideal because the employee's well-being shields them from repercussions and administrative mistakes. So in the end, my decision, the ethical approaches reinforce my decision making because they stress principles such as acting with integrity, ensuring fairness, and protecting the rights of every stakeholder. They explain why I put honesty and transparency ahead of all else. Wouldn't documents and worked to find constructive, honorable solutions to rectify the situation that didn't jeopardize anyone's interests or the integrity of the organization. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope you found it informative. Have a wonderful day.